Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanishalaakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nitinamine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. In this session, we'll be discussing from the 3rd verse of the 17th chapter of the 1st canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Gam cha dharma dugham deenam brusham shudra padahatam vivatsam ashruvadanam ksham mam yavasam ichchatim. The meaning of this verse is, although the cow is beneficial because one can draw religious principles from her, she was now rendered poor and calfless. Her legs were being beaten by a Shudra. There were tears in her eyes, and she was distressed and weak. She was hankering after some grass in the field. Earlier, the condition of the bull was described. Now the condition of the cow is being described. Cow is representing Mother Earth. And how people in Kali Yuga exploit the resources of material nature or the earth. And because of that, there are so many anomalies in this age. So the cow, particularly as an animal in human society, it is very, very important to protect the cow, because one can draw religious principles from her. How is that? Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport. The next symptom of the age of Kali is the distressed condition of the cow. Milking the cow means drawing the principles of religion in a liquid form. What is the meaning of this? Prabhupada explains further. The great rishis and munis would live only on milk. Milk is the only food which is which provides complete nutrition for a human being. There is no other food item which gives natural food item which gives complete nutrition for a human being except the cow's milk and of course the mother's milk. So, the saintly persons would generally live only on milk. And particularly in the Bhagavatam, this is particularly described. Srila Shukadev Goswami would go to a householder while he was milking a cow, and he would simply take a little quantity of that milk for his subsistence. And Srila Prabhupada particularly says here, even 50 years ago, Prabhupada was writing this purport sometime in the 60s. That means in the beginning of the 20th century, Prabhupada says, no one would deprive a sadhu of a quart or two of milk. This quart is a volume measure. Quart means about a liter. So no one would deprive a sadhu of 1 liter of milk. And every householder would give milk like water. They would freely supply milk. Because every householder would have cows and bulls. And they would just milk the cow and give it protection. So there was plenty of milk and milk products in every house. So Srila Prabhupada says, for a Sanatanist, a follower of Vedic principles, it is the duty of every householder to have cows and bulls as household paraphernalia. not only for drinking milk, but also for deriving religious principles. So the milk is complete nutrition. It is very, very nutritious food. But beyond just that, from the cow, you can derive religious principles. How is that? Srila Prabhupada says, the Sanatanist worships cows on religious principles and respects Brahmanas. The prayer we offer to Krishna, Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha. Krishna wants to see that the cows and the Brahmanas are given special protection. Special protection. In general, the animals and the humans have to be protected by the king. But among the animals, the cow should be given special protection. And among the human beings, the Brahmana should be given special protection, because both the cow and the Brahmanas actually ensure peace and prosperity in human society. So the tradition is, the Vedic culture is, to worship cows on religious principles. When Krishna performed the Govardhan Leela, he directed the Brajavasis to worship Govardhan Hill and the cows and the Brahmanas. So on that day of Govardhan Puja, we specifically worship the cows, the Brahmanas, and the Govardhan Hill itself. So the human society is totally dependent for its prosperity and subsistence on the cows and the Brahmanas. The Brahmanas give directions, proper direction to the general public, and the cow gives the most important food stuff, that is milk, for development of finer brain tissues to understand spiritual subject matter. The cow's milk is required for the sacrificial fire, because cow's milk is converted to ghee or clarified butter, and that ghee is used in sacrifices, fire sacrifice particularly. And by performing sacrifices, the householder can be happy. In the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna elaborately explains how sacrifice is linked to happiness for human beings, for human society. Nobody can be happy if they don't perform sacrifice. Nobody can get their necessities if they don't perform sacrifice. In general, people cannot expect good rainfall if they don't perform sacrifice for Vishnu. Yajnat bhavati parjanya. Parjanya means rains. There will be no proper rainfall if one does not perform sacrifice for Vishnu. Now, further, Srila Prabhupada says, the cow's calf, the young one of the cow, not only is beautiful to look at, but also gives satisfaction to the cow. And the cow delivers as much milk as possible when the calf is properly protected and the cow is able to have the calf with her. But in Kali Yuga, the calves are separated from the cows as early as possible for purposes which cannot be mentioned in these pages of the Srimad Bhagavatam. They don't want to allow especially the male calves to remain and to survive. Because a cow may give birth to a male calf or a female calf. But they want only the female calf because they can milk it. Whereas the male calf, they don't know how to utilize the bull, the male calf. When it grows, it can actually produce grains. It can do so many things. So many things. But because they do not know how to engage the bulls and give them protection and utilize them in a proper way, therefore they don't allow these calves to survive, to remain, especially male calves. The cow stands with tears in her eyes, and the Shudra milkman draws milk from the cow artificially. Means the cow will give milk only after the calf has taken its share. The cow will be satisfied to give plenty of milk. But now the calf is not allowed to drink the cow's milk at all. And the calf is separated from the cow very, very early. And how do they make the cow give milk? They will force the cow to give milk. They will use a pump, artificial pump, to suck out the milk from the cow. If the cow is unwilling to give when the calf is not there. And when there is no milk, the cow is sent to be slaughtered. The cow will give milk for some number of years. After it becomes old, it stops giving milk. Then immediately send it to the slaughterhouse for being butchered for flesh, cow flesh. These greatly sinful acts are responsible for all the troubles in the present society. Very, very sinful. To kill the cow, to kill the male calf, doesn't even have a chance of surviving, living its normal lifespan. And people do not understand that this is very, very sinful. Means the laws of nature will work regardless of whether people have belief or people are educated or uneducated. And people have to suffer in so many ways. People do not know what they are doing in the name of economic development. They're just concerned with somehow making money. But they do not realize that while it is not entirely wrong to strive for economic development or earning money, but the way it is done is, if it is not in accordance with the laws of nature, laws of God, then people have to suffer so much, the consequences of violating God's laws. The influence of Kali will keep the people in this age in the darkness of ignorance. Despite all endeavors for peace and prosperity, they must try to see the cows and the bulls happy in all respects. If you want to be happy as a human being, you should ensure that cows and bulls are protected and they are happy in all respects. Otherwise, if the cows and bulls are not happy, they are not given proper protection, human beings have to suffer and there will be no peace and prosperity in human society. Where cows and bulls are particularly not properly protected. Foolish people do not know how one can earn happiness by making the cows and bulls happy, but it is a fact by laws of nature. The laws of nature people do not know. They are doing some research to find out how things are working in nature, but they do not have the authoritative knowledge from the perfect source, from God, through the Vedas. Let us take it from the authority of Srimad Bhagavatam and adopt the principles for the total happiness of human society. So Bhagavatam teaches us that we should have this Brahmanical culture, whereby Brahmanas are protected, Brahmanas direct the society, and the cows are protected, and the cows are giving us wonderful milk, and they are happy in every respect, so that there is peace and prosperity in human society. I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.